Welcome to the second part of our Sheboygan County Night to Shine training session. Something that I omitted to say in the first training session is about appropriate dress. This is a prom, so we ask please dress up, especially if you're going to be a buddy accompanying one of our guests. Now, some of the volunteer roles, such as food service or other things, probably not proper to be so formal, but use your judgment leaning towards fancy. Now, Sheboygan County is hosting Night to Shine in two different communities, Plymouth and Sheboygan Falls. And this segment of the training is specific to the Plymouth event. The experience for Plymouth guests, whom we call kings and queens, will begin at Salem Church, 217 Salem Drive in Plymouth, and it's going to end at Christian Life Church, 300 Rustic Street in Plymouth. Now, let me talk about the timing of the event. It is officially from 6 to 9 p.m., but our guests are so excited about this that we discovered some of them arrive by 5 p.m., and so we're going to be ready for them. Volunteer times, when to arrive, are going to be staggered, but some can be early as 3 p.m. Your team leader is going to communicate with you about your arrival time. Now, some volunteers are to report to Salem Church, 217 Salem Drive in Plymouth, while others are going to report to Christian Life Church here at 300 Rustic Street in Plymouth. For volunteers who report to Christian Life Church, when you approach the church, you usually approach it from the east side off of Highway 67. As you come up the drive there, you will be redirected by our parking team around the block to our west side Crumry Street entrance, and there you'll be directed on where to place your vehicle. As you enter the church, you'll see a coat check just to your left, and then a check-in table will be in the church office to your left. And after you check in the office, you'll be directed to your place of service. Now, the largest segment of our volunteers, our buddies, are going to need to park your cars at Christian Life Church, and then we're going to transport you by van over to Salem Church, because as part of the night's experience, you're going to take a limo ride with your king or queen from Salem to Christian Life, so your vehicle needs to be here at the end of the night. Therefore, we would ask our buddies to please be at Christian Life by 4:15 p.m. so that you can arrive at Salem by 4:30 p.m. in time for the buddy team meeting with your team leader prior to the event. Now, Emily Pierce, the team leader, will be in touch with you about this. And if your work hours are such that 4:30 time, 4:15, 4:30 time isn't working for you, please communicate it to Emily, and she will do her very best to try to work it out. We want you to serve as a buddy. We need you to serve as a buddy. So, when you park at Christian Life, we're going to try to get you because you're going to be dressed a little bit nicer than some of the other volunteers. We're going to try to get you to park in the section closer to the church building so that your walk at the end of the evening, should the weather be snowy or such, is going to be a little bit nicer for you. Now, volunteers who report to Salem Church, we're going to ask you to park in the east parking lot and enter through their carport entry. And you'll proceed through the lobby to the volunteer check-in table, where you'll receive both a lanyard badge and you'll be directed to your place of service. When buddies are dropped off at Salem Church, you're going to have a different volunteer check-in place in their fellowship hall, which we also call the buddy waiting room, and you can see that on the map that's projected before you. Your team leader is going to provide you some instructions. Now, as our guests are checked in the lobby, they're going to be matched with you. So you will go from the buddy waiting room, and you'll meet your guest at their check-in table, and where you'll receive some introductory information, an announcement card you'll place it in your lanyard badge, and it's information about your guests that is going to be given to the host in the crowning ceremony room for when they're introduced. You and your guest will then proceed along the green dotted line through the king and the queen prep areas to where, and in that king and queen prep areas, the women are going to have their hair spritzed, and they're going to have their makeup touched up, and they're going to get a corsage and a tiara, and the men are going to get their shoes shined, and they're going to be fussed over, and they're going to get a boutonniere. And as you go out of that room, you will then go to the along the green line to the photo room, where a picture will be taken of the guest and then a view of the guest and the guest. At the end of the evening, each of you are going to receive a copy of that picture. Follow the picturing taking. You and your guest will follow the red dotted line to the crowning ceremony room, where your guest is going to be introduced. That is where you're going to hand the announcement card with the introductory information to the host. Following their introduction, you and the guest are going to proceed along the red carpet to the limo ride. Now, if your guest has sensory issues, and you'll at the check-in table, you'll be aware of that, there's going to be a person who will proceed before you holding the sensory zone sign, indicating to the people who are along the red carpet that they're to wave their arms instead of to clap and cheer. I want to remind you, remember to get into the limo last so that you're beside the door. That's for safety purposes, as well as being able to assist them when you get out of the limo at Christian Life Church. Now, the limo will drop you off at Christian Life, where you and the guest will experience a second short red carpet experience between the entrance and the prom room. You see that red carpet on the map that's before you. Now, that begins the prom night experience. You'll note outside of the prom room is the food area. That's a change from what we did last year. Last year we had the food in the prom area. They can bring food into the prom room and sit at a table, but we're going to have the tables set out in our foyer area for the food area. New this year is through the connector into the older part of our building, we're going to have a karaoke room where your guests may wish to participate in karaoke. That's going to be a very popular thing. We have you'll see on the map, a volunteer food and water area in the room adjacent to the karaoke room, where if before, after, you can get some stuff, just a place to kind of pull yourself together when you need to. There is a sensory room on the upper level, where if your guest is exhibiting some indication of being overstimulated, you can take them there. It'll be a quiet, nice environment with some gently stimulating things and people who can help them kind of just settle down a little bit. We do have some respite rooms on the lower level for the caretakers and those who are remaining in the building. At the end of the night, you'll notice at the coat check, where you'll help your buddy get back into their coat, there's also a gift bag pickup table where they'll get some special items, and the pictures will be. At the end of the evening, you'll see that there is, at the coat check area, of course, you'll help your guests get into their coat and get loaded back into their transportation. But there's also a gift bag pickup area right there, where the pictures will be available for you and for your king or your queen, as well as a bag of other interesting items. We've got some coupons, I think, for ice cream and for bowling, and various gift items that have been donated and collected for your guests. Make sure they get that with them to take it home. So that's the way the evening is going to proceed. Once again, your team leader will be in touch with you and can answer any further questions that you have. And we thank you so much for volunteering for Sheboygan County Night to Shine. We think it's going to be an incredible evening for our guests, but I think it's going to be an incredible evening for you as well. God bless.